Hey everyone, it's Karnak, it's your buddy, it's your pal, it's Star Wars Armada Explained. Thank you for watching the video today. We're going to be reviewing a title card, upgrade card for Star Wars Armada. We're going to be looking at Foremans Labor. It is a title for a hard cell transport. So Foremans Labor, if you see in front of its name there, you're going to see a dot or bullet point. Signifies that Foremans Labor is unique. You can only ever have one of them in your fleet. In the background there has that cool shot of Geonosis, so of course that's what I had to throw up on here for us today. To the right of Foremans Labor, you're going to see an icon. Signifies that the card is able to reoccur or ready itself on its own, meaning you don't have to pay a cost at the end of a round. It's able to refresh itself automatically. Bottom left hand corner, you're going to see the kind of ship that this card equips to. It equips to a hard cell. Opposite of that, you're going to see the faction-specific icon. Again, this icon and this upgrade card is only for the Confederate Independent Systems or the CIS, the droids ship, and it's 5 points. So Foremans Labor reads, before you suffer damage from an attack, if it is the defending hull zone, or if the defending hull zone has at least one shield remaining, you may exhaust this card to reduce the total damage by 1. So essentially, it's a free get out of jail card for 1 damage per round for 5 points. So as long as you're able to get 3, 4, even 5 rounds of use out of this card, you have well paid for its cost. And the fact that again, reducing a damage by 1 doesn't seem like a whole lot, but it can quickly add up to the survivability of the ship, especially because of its defense token suite that it comes with. So let's break it down. So the Foremans Labor, again, before you suffer damage. So when does this take place? So before you suffer damage, this is in the final step of an attack. It's after your attacker has resolved any critical effects that they may have. You then total up how much damage there is. If you spent a defense token like a brace, brace then comes into effect. It's like, this was the total, but now brace comes into effect. It reduces it by half. This is now the new total. So now you've reached the before you suffer damage from an attack. Again, if the defending hull zone has at least 1 shield remaining, you may exhaust this card to reduce the total damage by 1. So you can reduce it by an additional. So let's step through this in an example. We've got a charger here at long range. It says, hey, hard cell, I really don't like you. I throw 2 die out the front, 2 red die. There's no obstruction or anything in the way. I'm going to go ahead and throw 2 dice at you. And wow, that's pretty hurtful, but the hard cell's like, I got some awesome defense tokens. I have evade, brace, redirect. You know what? So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to evade that double. We're going to cancel that die because we're at long. Now I only have 1 damage coming at me. So now we progress on to the final step. The attacker doesn't have any critical effects to resolve. So now we look, okay, on my front, I have 3 shields remaining. So yes, I do qualify for the fact that I have at least 1 shield remaining in my defending hull zone. Since that is the case, now I can exhaust this card. And since I have done so, I can now reduce the total damage by 1. So because there is only 1 damage, I have completely negated the damage from that attack. I take no damage from this attack. And that is Foremans Labor. But again, just to make sure I'm giving a couple different examples, let's say, for example, I didn't have an evade the spend. All I had was my brace, and there was the 3 damage there still. Let me go and back this up. Whoop. I went too far. Let's just go and read it. There we go. Okay. And we just change it. Alright, so then instead of evading, I'm going to brace instead. Okay, we move on. Again, the attacker has no critical effects to resolve. So I'm taking 3 damage. We total it, but I spent a brace, so now we can reduce it by half. Again, round up, so 3 becomes 2 damage. Again, look at my shields on my hull zone. I have 3 left there. Again, I can exhaust this card to then reduce that total damage by 1 to then only take 1 damage on the defending hull zone. In this situation. So again, making sure I'm trying to give a couple different examples. But again, that's only if your defending hull zone has a shield in which that's already there. So if this front hull zone didn't have any shields, for example, it had 0 shields and I was shot there, even if I had this card available to exhaust and to use, Again, I need at least 1 shield remaining on my defending hull zone. So if there's 0 shields there and I'm about to take damage, I'm not able to utilize this card to further reduce that damage by 1. Okay, so that is, in a nutshell, Foreman's labor. Of course, with the KARM, as always, want to make sure that I'm getting everything, understanding everything. So there is one thing, and or actually 2 things we're going to cover here. Sorry. The first thing I want to go over is that when you suffer damage, this suffering of damage needs to be from attack. It specifically says from an attack. So, like, if you were to run over an asteroid, that's not an attack. That's an effect from running over an obstacle. There's no die pool being rolled. Again, same deal if you overlapped a debris field. Again, even though you're about to suffer 2 damage, it's not damage from an attack. It's very specific, very clear. So the only time that you are suffering damage from an attack is, did somebody roll a dice pool against your ship? Then yes, that's an attack in almost all situations. Essentially, if you're being attacked and they're gathering and rolling a die pool, that is signifying that, yes, this is an attack. We've gone through all the steps of the attack. That is what it's defined as. So not overlapping obstacles and shuttling off damage from or anything of that nature. Okay. Again, needs to be specifically from an attack. The second part I want to go over is, let's say this charger, for example, had the ability, it doesn't, but again, using this as an example, it had the ability to equip assault photon torpedoes. Again, can't do that. Example only. Let's say it's at close range, it's attacking with a single black die, and let's say that this die is a hit crit, and it's going, I'm going to go ahead and, for example, again, this we don't have an evade. Let's say we can't use an evade, but we use our brace defense token. So we get to step 5, and the attacker, again, you always resolve critical effects before moving on to anything else. The attacker says, I'm going to resolve assault proton torpedo along with the now 2 damage that is on this die. So you would take the face-up damage card from assault proton torpedoes. You flip that face up, whatever that would be. And then even though you're moving on to now resolving your defense token, so again, it's 2 damage, you brace it to 1, and if you use Foreman's labor, reduce it to 0 damage. Again, even though the damage from the attack pool ended up being 0, assault proton torpedoes, the critical effect always resolves first. If it's a non-standard critical effect. So if somebody was using HIE, or if they're using APT or assault concussion missiles, again, just because the attack pool, you're able to negate the damage to turn it to 0 damage, critical effects always happen first. So the critical effect would still resolve and deal damage, essentially, from whatever that effect is. Okay. All right, I think pretty much I've covered everything that relates to this card. Of course, if you have questions, you're still confused about some things, please be sure to leave some comments, get in touch with me. I'm on Facebook, I'm on the Discords, I'm on other forums. I'm trying to be, as everywhere as I possibly can be. So again, any confusion at all about this or anything else, drop a comment, let me know. But I appreciate you, and I hope you all are doing well, staying safe, and hey, I'll catch you all next time.